Welcome back to the news at 10. And what may be a new twist to the issue of insurgency in Nigeria, Turkish Airlines has denied carrying weapons and military equipment to Nigeria. This denial is coming after a Twitter account which is behind a string of leaks, in a Turkish corruption scandal, released a voice recording suggesting the airline had brought in weapons into the country. A part of the alleged voice recording reads, quote, "Lots of material is on its way to Nigeria right now. Is it going to kill Muslims or Christians? I'm sinning now. I think you should know," end of quote. According to agency reports, the recording, which it claimed could not be independently verified, is purportedly of a conversation between a senior Turkish airline employee and one of Mr. Erdogan's advisors. It is a cruel irony of fate that Lokoja, the Kogi state capital, served as the first administrative headquarters of Nigeria. But today, sections of the city are overrun by dirt. One cannot recount the evolution of Nigeria without giving Lokoja a pride of place. And if the status is to remain high, then a lot should be done to clean up the city and its environs.
Now you're talking.
This is the sight that greets the eyes as one approaches this "Welcome to Lokoja" sign when traveling in from the south or east of the country. Heaps of refuse litter the roadside, and food vendors peddle their wares without paying attention to the dirty environment. This has become a cause for concern to the residents of the city, and they bear their minds concerning the situation. While some feel that the cleanup job should be contracted out to private hands, others are of the opinion that the state government should be able to take on the task itself.
You know, an individual running an organization is better than government too, because government property is everybody's property. But this is contracted to some individuals. I think they'll do better.
What I think the government can do is possibly to get this debris moving vehicle attached to the Ministry of Environment, who are responsible for making the environment to be clean. So they can be going from one place to another, packing debris like these ones.
They have to be more punctual and add more zeal for their work.
These two residents attest to the fact that the messy environment was not always the case in Lokoja, but things have taken a negative turn.
Previously, I used to see the Ministry of Environment cleaning the environment, but recently we later discovered that they stopped doing this, and a lot of mess is going on in the whole state.
This dirt that they are packing here, sometimes when rain fall, it washes inside the gutter and block the drainage. And this thing, if this rotting there, nobody take care of it, it can develop bacteria that can affect the health of the people.
Germs which may end up causing harm to the citizenry. As a nutritionist with the Kogi State Specialist Hospital, Lokoja, Mary Akintola explains.
Most times when food are exposed to things like that, you're exposed to germs, and when people eat or you feed your children with such food, they start complaining of diarrhea and so many other related diseases and all that. It's not because the food you eat is not good in itself, but because of the environment. So it is important for mothers or parents to make sure that when they want to buy food, the particular person or customer you want to buy from is far from dirt.
Mr. Idris Miliki, who is the Executive Director of the Center for Human Rights Conflict Resolution, CHRCR, put the blame squarely on the government for not having what he called a holistic environmental policy.
What kind of equipment did you have to deal with this issue? And do you have a policy that have to address the recycling? You don't just move around and collect refuse and go and dump it anywhere as government. And what is the level of participation of the citizens? How much do you also generate as a Ministry of Environment so that it can assist you from the citizens?
Our heavy-duty machines or equipment or vehicles, evacuation trucks, some of them were, of course, taken for overhauling and servicing. And the ones that were available could not cope with the areas where have declared a weak emergency situation on the cleanliness. The situation we are in Kogi for now is not as if the board alone. There are other private waste collectors, and not just that. Last month, His Excellency have approved for procurement of more evacuation trucks and waste bins.
Between the suggestions of the indigenes of the state and the willingness of the state government, it looks like a solution is in the pipeline for the refuse question.
Etisalat, now your talk.
We move to the Niger Delta now, where the NDDC has resolved to better deliver on its mandate as contained in its Establishment Act of 2000 and in line with the President's transformation agenda. This was agreed at the end of a three-day retreat held in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. The resolution was jointly signed by the chairman, NDDC board, Senator Bassi Ewa Henshaw, the managing director, Barrister Bassi Dan Abia, alongside two other executive directors. It was a week-long retreat that brought together top management staff and members of the governing board together in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. The purpose was to discuss the repositioning of the commission in line with the recommendations of its master plan.
The vision, mission, priorities and responsibility of NDDC be clearly redefined and communicated to all stakeholders as well as the general public in a manner that will engender confidence, involvement, and active support.
The board and management agreed to initiate, build and strengthen partnerships with key stakeholder groups with a view to improving working relations and cooperation with such organizations and institutions. The public-private partnership mechanism will also be explored to leverage NDDC's ability to undertake major critical projects towards the delivery of its mandate. The NDDC leadership team noted that some external constraints hindered the Commission's efforts at effectively discharging its duties.
The board and management are firmly committed to reporting on the activities of the Commission in an open, honest and transparent manner. The reporting will focus on outcomes and impacts. That is how we transform lives and the environment of the Niger Delta, rather than mere outputs or project completion.
The Commission further resolved that there were internal challenges, some which included weaknesses in the management systems and procedures, corruption, defects in the organizational structure, disconnect between staff performance and reward system, weak interface between head office and state offices, poor corporate communication culture, and infighting within the Commission.
The signals we are getting today that they have started operating with the development templates that are built the condition of legal accountability.
They assured that the board and management would henceforth work harmoniously to ensure that all the internal constraints hampering effective service delivery are addressed, and stressed the staff would be adequately equipped to ensure that they discharge their responsibilities effectively.
First Bank, truly the first.
Welcome. It's time now for Business News. Here's Joker Rogers.
Thank you, Amarachi. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria's external reserves have hit new lows as they continue a downward slide. Data from the Central Bank of Nigeria show that the reserves fell to $38.4 billion on March the 17th, hitting a new 19-month low. The latest figure also represents an 11.93% drop from their levels in December 2013. A further breakdown shows that the nation's reserves lost $1.71 billion from their levels at the end of February, when they stood at $40.11 billion. The Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas Limited has disbursed a total of 2 billion naira to 6 universities under its University Support Program to equip their engineering laboratories. Managing Director of the company, Mr. Babs Omotowa, said that the gesture will help meet the infrastructure needs in the nation's university system.
The contribution of the private sector globally to any sector of the economy is key to achieving success. Having lived up to its corporate social responsibility in the provision of basic amenities in its host community of Boni, the Nigeria Liquefied and Natural Gas has announced a grant of 2 billion naira to the Faculty of Engineering of 6 universities in the country.
The scheme, which has been approved at our Board of Directors, enables us to spend over 2 billion naira with 6 universities in Nigeria in the area of engineering. We are committed to build world-class engineering laboratory and to equip those laboratories to world-class standards.
While government is pledged to revamp the nation's education sector, experts believe that private organizations also have a role to play. Representatives of the benefiting universities promise to be prudent in the management of the funds given to them to upgrade their engineering laboratories.
We vice chancellors we have no doubt that the only role of a university is to deliver public good. In addition to generating private good, in addition to creating knowledge, disseminating knowledge, we believe that the society will benefit from universities when we deliver more public good.
Funding from government usually is not enough to carry the universities through. And that's why gestures like this from corporate bodies, when we see them happen, we are really very grateful.
Besides supporting the nation's education system, a total of 220 billion naira is to be paid to the nation's treasury as part of the company's income tax.
By this year, we will be paying our company income tax to the Federation account of 220 billion naira, which will make us the biggest by far of any taxpayer in the country, and also even in sub-Saharan Africa.
Although officials of the Nigeria Liquefied and Natural Gas say this gesture is a pilot phase, it's promised to assist more universities in upgrading their facilities.
Well, 2 U.S. lawyers have asked the Attorney General of the United States of America, Eric Holder Jr., to repatriate the $458 million assets stolen by late General Sani Abacha and his accomplices. In the letter titled Abacha Kleptocracy Forfeiture Action, the lawyer said SERAP respectively requests that the U.S. Department of Justice establish a general process for the repatriation of assets seized as part of its kleptocracy initiative. According to the lawyers, even though the department has only recently filed the civil forfeiture complaint regarding the Abacha-related assets, SERAP respectfully submits that its request is nonetheless timely in regard of such assets. Time for some figures now. Loretta Chioga joins us with the midweek stock market figures. She reports a further decline in the market indices.
Hello and welcome to Stock Market Report tonight. Key indicators are the equities market slumped again to continue its losing streak as the all-share index tumbled by 0.37% to close at 37,136.60 points. Now, the market's capitalization also shrank to 11.92 trillion naira. Some of the stocks that aided the market include food giant Nestle, Total, and Presco. Other price movements show Mobil leading the gainers by 4 naira, that's 3.42% ahead of 7-Up and Dangote Cement. The day's volume was largely controlled by banking stocks led by Zenith Bank, which garnered over 71 million shares. Now, other stocks that shared the top traded spot include Diamond Bank and Guarantee Trust Bank. They continued, and contributed to the day's total volume of 254.14 million units for 3.64 billion naira transacted in over 4,000 deals. And that's it on Stock Market Report tonight. I'm Loretta Chiogo.
Thank you, Loretta. That's it on Business News. On the news at 10, Amarachi will be back shortly.
First Bank, truly the first.
Well, still ahead on the news at 10, new details emerge on the missing Malaysia Airlines flight 370. Just stay with us.